He's the voice that stops the nation, the Melbourne Cup race caller, the guy who can make your day if you back the winner.
At 3 o'clock tomorrow afternoon, this is the man who'll have the ear of Australians.
Flamin' Romans, 50 metres to go, punched out, won the opener by a half-length, Mr Kipchoge.
Matt Hill will be saddling up for his 8th Melbourne Cup call, and at 43, the finish post is nowhere in sight.
I don't work a day of my life. I actually bounce out of bed every day, can't wait to get behind the microphone for something.
Race broadcasting in Australia has been the envy of the world. The list of those who've brought those Melbourne Cups into our homes is in itself a field of champions. Names like Bert Bryant, Bill Collins.
Now the horses are moving into the stalls for the running of the 1987 Melbourne Cup.
More recently, Greg Miles, and Johnny Tapp was known to head down the Hume Highway to put his own stamp on the Melbourne Cup. Like so many others, Tappy is a fan of Matt Hill's.
Matthew Hill is the consummate professional. He certainly developed into one of the best, most articulate and most knowledgeable racing commentators in Australia.
So Matt, you're the premier race caller in Australia. I'm going to put you to the test. Who's that one?
Have no idea.
Oh,
no,
Matt.
They've got to carry colours, TJ. They need colours.
Come on, surely it's got a colour. It's a beautiful brown.
Yeah, no. I need the jockey with the colour.
Race calling would have to be one of the toughest fields to break into. It's essentially a closed shop, but nothing was going to put the brakes on Matt's ambitions.
When I was 15, I'd start getting little jobs calling barrier trials, or my first ever race meeting was a place called Poon Kerry, just outside of Mildura, and Mum would drive her little yellow Toyota to all of these places so that I could have an opportunity.
In fact, it was his mum who drove him to Caulfield when we profiled Matt for a news story when he was just 16.
As a youngster, 9 or 10 years of age, looking at the important men up in the box, high up in the stand with the best view in the house, yeah, it's like a passion. And
the one thing I recall about that story, way back when, was a certain vow he made.
I'm going to call that Melbourne Cup one day.
27 years later, Matt called the first of his Melbourne Cups, and since then, he's led the field. Such is his reputation, Matt was invited earlier this year to call a race at the famed Saratoga racecourse in the United States.
And they're off. Away they go. And a beautiful line too.
They told me to talk slower because basically they can't understand our accent.
It was a box ticked. So too a couple of months ago when he was part of Channel 9's Olympic team. It wasn't his first games. The first, Beijing 2008, almost ended his life.
Acute melioidosis has a death rate of 90%. So I was air-vac'd out of China to Hong Kong. I was told before I was placed in an induced coma that your mum loves you.
Matt's mum has been such an important, influential figure in his life. Whether it be willing him to pull through that near-death experience or driving him around country courses in that old Toyota. Then there's the Melbourne Cup.
So I always imagine that I'm just calling the Melbourne Cup to my mum driving over the Westgate Bridge and she's listening, and that's the only person I'm telling the story to.
Sadly, Matt had no sooner returned from the Paris Olympics and his mother died. It's left a massive void this spring, but you'd never know it as he continues to do her proud. And Matt's mum was definitely proud.
Everyone she came in contact with, she would brag. She was one of the great braggers, my mum.
When the Melbourne Cup field jumps, Matt, like the horses he'll call, will need to be at the top of his game.
In fact, it's almost getting to the stage where the walk from the broadcast box to the car is the bit at the end of the day I don't look forward to, because you're always going to get some very good feedback.
Come tomorrow, there'll be millions ready to deliver their own critique, along with a certain mum.
She'll be listening, I can guarantee it.
And she'll be so proud, Matt. We can't wait to hear you call the race tomorrow here on 9.